7 minutes after, let's call the meeting to order. And the first order of business is the approval of the minutes from the July 18, 2023 meeting. Is there a motion to approve? Motion made, a second. And a second. Any discussion or corrections? All in favor? Aye. And motion carries. Our next order is our public hearing for tonight, which is Vision Engineering on behalf of Greer Land Company have applied for a variance to allow for the existing abandoned freestanding sign to remain, which exceeds the maximum height by 19.43 feet and a maximum area by 24.95 square feet, located at 2596 South Danville Bypass, Danville. The property is zoned highway business.
All right.
And I'll turn it over to Kayla.
Yep. I think you all are familiar with this property. We've had a variance request on it already for landscaping requirements. It's where the new Drake's is going, so it's right on the corner of the bypass here in Houstonville Road. It is zoned highway business commercial. So I put the sign standards in here. This is essentially just a mock-up of what the existing sign structure is. So the required height in the highway business zoning district is 24 feet. The existing height of this sign is 43.43 feet with a difference of 19.43 feet. The required sign area in the highway business district is 128 square feet. The existing sign area is 148.95 square feet with a difference of 24.95 square feet. This is a photo of the existing sign. I'm sure you all have seen it at one point or another. So essentially their proposal is to change out that sign face and clean it up a little bit and put out the sign for the new incoming business of Drake's. When you look at that site, it does sit at a pretty low elevation. So you are looking, compared to the right of way from where the actual sign sits, there is a pretty significant change in elevation. So when you're looking at the height, that is something to take into consideration. I don't think this sign was put out legally. From best I can tell, we don't have a permit for it. I think it would have been put out in a time that it needed a permit. At no point in time would it have met our regulations. Our new zoning ordinance does call, which was adopted in 2020, does call for abandoned signs to be removed within 1 year. I believe this sign was abandoned in 2016 or 2017. But that would have been under the old ordinance, which we did not have that provision. But as it stands now, it is, a non-conforming sign. They are asking that they're able to keep the existing sign and change out the sign face. It is significantly larger, obviously, than what we typically allow. So that is something to keep in mind. But again, it is already existing. It has been there for a long time. So that's really all I have on it. Is there any questions?
I'm done.
I wonder if that predates King Buffet. Does that go back to?
Golden Corral.
Yeah. That's probably why there's no permit for it. It's probably been there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's possible it was there before PNC, which could be why, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't think
Okay.
King Buffet was putting up the money for a sign that big.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the photograph, my observation, there's this funny little structure on the bottom,
Mm-hmm.
which I vaguely recall carried a sign.
A second sign?
I think I recall.
like special,
Yeah.
on special or whatever.
Okay. Based on their mock-up, they didn't ask for additional sign area to kind of fill in and utilize that bottom portion. I'll let Jihad answer that if that's the intention or not, but my understanding is that they're just intending to change out this top sign face. Yeah. Jihad might be able to answer or fill in some of these questions as well.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Jihad Hallani with Vision Engineering. I just want to thank you guys all for coming on very short notice to help us. We are a little bit behind schedule, and we're trying to open the restaurant as soon as possible. So the goal is within the next couple of weeks. And the purpose of us here today, we have been here multiple of times, and just the nature of the site is basically has a lot of constraint from the Kinder Morgan gas easement on both sides of the property, plus the overhead electric easement from utility company, which is 100 feet wide. And during the construction of the site, we run into some kind of storm systems that draining off-site. And then with time, this pipe get corroded, and we were working with the city about fixing it. And it sound like today, as I finished the work about putting new pipes, and plus the property has no sanitary sewers, so we have to put a pump station in order to serve it, to pump all the way to the manhole close to McDonald's site. So there's a lot of constraint. And so that's what we are, number one, that's why we are hoping to keep the sign, because we run through so many costs we did not anticipate it. We have to raise the site to maintain 5 feet of clearance on top of the gas company line, plus the other things. And the reason that on that sign we are planning to, as Michaela mentioned, remove the top, have Drake's sign, which is a very, very attractive sign, and then paint the sign, and it's going to be only one sign. And we believe that sign is has been there for a long time. Like you guys said, it's predate the Chinese restaurant. And the way it's located, it's too far from the roadway. It's like almost 75 feet from the bypass and 200 feet from Houston Road. So it's significantly sitting far, plus it's at the lowest elevation of the site. So even though we are higher by 19 feet, but we are kind of depressed at least 8 feet minimum from the intersection of the roadway. And I understand the ordinance, and usually the ordinance is that if the sign is very close to the right-of-way, you want it to be at certain height so it does not look like huge. Now we are sitting too far from the side, from the roadway, and also on a depressed location. So I believe that size may be adequate, just because if it's lower, you feel like it's in your face. It's a little bit being on the roadways. Now being a little bit higher, it's gonna match the character of the other sign. You have McDonald's sign sitting so high because the location of McDonald's is sitting high. Same thing for Dairy Queen next to us, their sign. So it's kind of basically mimic the topography. We are the lowest, our sign, even though it's taller, but still lower than the one next to it is a little bit higher, than McDonald's a little bit higher. We feel like this has been there for a long time. We are making major improvement to it. It's going to look much better than what it is right now. Significant improvement. We feel like we're sitting farther from the roadway, and we are at lower elevation. So it's kind of basically, it's not an intrusive sign. It's going to be major improvement to where it is right now. And giving the extra cost that the project went through, we are hoping that you allow us to keep it and maintain it and make it look nice. And also one of the things that we talked to the city, and the city talked to us, is that the city is going to come in and remove all these kind of trees in the right-of-way. And we agreed we're going to maintaining it, keeping it mowed, keep it clean, so that that section of around that intersection is going to look like kind of clean, very taken care of, presentable. So we are hoping if you guys can allow us to keep the sign and finish the project and open in a couple of weeks, because this is going to be a great addition to the city of Danville, and we are excited to come to Danville, and sound like there is a lot of good thing going on that roadway for Danville, and hopefully will be good, more good thing come. So, and if you have any question, we'll be more than happy to answer it.
Is the sign structurally sound?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we had a structural engineer before before we kind of have the conversation. The first question was, I mean, if we go and get the approval and then the sign the next day fall down, I mean, so what does it do us any good? So yes, we had structural engineers that come in and said, hey, yeah, the sign is stable.
Are you thinking about taking that bottom part off and cleaning it up?
Yes, sir. That bottom up is going to be gone. Yes, sir.
Anybody else have questions?
Can you go back one
Yep.
to the pavement?
Just for reference, it took me a minute to understand this. The ground is at 1,000 feet, so when you're looking at that, just subtract 1,000 from the heights that you can see there.
Yeah, this is true ground elevation. It happened to be at elevation 1,000, so what's
it.
the odd?
That's
But it is.
Oh, I'll never forget that now. That's going to be locked in.
Elevation right there.
There will be a monument mark over there, like elevation 1,000.
Yeah, good benchmark. right there.
Yeah.
Any more questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
And for the record, obviously, there's no public here, so there'll be no opportunity for anyone to speak for or against. So we will officially close the public portion of the meeting and go to deliberation.
Able to make a motion of that, Henry here to wordsmith it out?
I had Henry send some language ahead of time to help us out for either approval or denial, so whichever way you want to go, just let me know and I can read it out for you.
Got some canned responses there?
Yes. I anticipated you all wanting this, so.
Thank you.
Yep.
You anticipated wisely.
Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the sign.
I second that.
Motion second, any discussion?
Yeah. Are we gonna get in trouble down the road for this out
Let's imagine.
there?
Well, you know, going back to,
I'm not against it, I'm just asking.
we allowed Arby's to be a little higher based on their need to use stock Arby's sign. We did. And the storefront in Danville Manor, we allowed them to use a little more of the facade than
Yeah.
they should have.
Every-
The pizza place, we let it be
Yeah.
a little bigger because they're set so far back.
Every site is supposed to be evaluated on an independent basis. I think this one with the elevation being as low as it is compared to the public right-of-way, that's a fairly unique circumstance. So that's something that, you know, in the future, if somebody comes in looking for a sign of this size and they don't have that same change in elevation, then that can be justification for not allowing something like that in the future.
That sign doesn't look obtrusive.
No,
Drive it down the road.
that sign's
You have
been
to
there
look
for,
it right now.
that sign's been in my life for 40 years, and I've never thought, gosh, that sign looks awfully big.
I think, yeah, if we run into
No, you
a future situation that maybe we don't think positively about, that this would be a very good one to go back and say, look, this is why we passed this. It's kind of extraneous. And the length of time it's been there.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's relevant.
The length of time it's been there?
It's probably not, other than it's never been a problem.
Yeah.
I don't know how the time is relevant.
Yeah, good
That's a good point, and that's valid. Yeah, I agree.
Take that.
Okay, a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Mr. Brown, we haven't heard from you. Do you have an opinion?
Oh, I'm fine.
You're over there.
I actually, much of my career sat in this seat, so it's just
Yep.
memories from long ago.
Okay.
Could I ask who made that second? Was it you, Commissioner? Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's vote. All in favor? Aye. And opposed? And the motion carries 5-1.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The remainder of our agenda is old and new business. This being a special called meeting, we can't discuss anything that's not on the agenda. So the next item is to adjourn. Is there a motion to adjourn? Motion and a second. No discussion on adjournment. All in favor?
Amen.
Aye. We stand adjourned.